All right, y'all. Hit the like button, follow, subscribe, enjoy the podcast. All right, y'all. Welcome back to the Shooting Park Podcast, episode 2 of the new season here. Let's go ahead and we'll recap this past week's events real quick. So PGA, we had the Sony Open, Whaley Country Club, Honolulu, Hawaii. Great event. Came down to a playoff. So you had Nick Taylor, Nico Echevarria, I believe, both at minus 16. JJ Spawn, minus 15. Steven Yeager, minus 15. And then Eric Cole at minus 14 and 5th. Nick Taylor goes on, wins the first playoff of the year of the new season. He won in the playoff with 2 straight birdies as Nico ended up birdieing the first hole and then parring the second hole. Nick Taylor has now won 5 events in his career. Shockingly, the last 3 have come in playoffs, so he's kind of being looked at as kind of a clutch performer, especially when the first place is on the line there, when he has a sniff of it. So good for him. Played out of his mind down the stretch. Him and Nico both did. Both shot a 65, 5 under on the final day, both jumping up the leaderboard a little bit. Nico birdied 18. Nick ended up eagling the final hole with a 60-foot chip to force the playoff between the two. And then obviously he went on and won it with 2 straight birdies to end the playoffs there. Spawn, he kind of stumbled in on Sunday. He had his worst round. He shot a 68 2 under after starting the tournament, 66, 66, and a 65. He was in the lead heading into that final round, so he kind of stumbled right towards the end there, but still a good tournament for him. I'm sure he'll be at the top of some of these other tournaments, smaller ones and whatnot. Nick Taylor, I mean, he usually plays well in these smaller tournaments, so he's always a safe bet to be in the top 5. Yeager started Sunday in 3rd after shooting an impressive 62 on Saturday. He really jumped up the board on Saturday, but came back to earth Sunday shooting a 67 to finish the tournament. So again, great tournament. Obviously, this was the second one in Hawaii in the past 2 weeks. I believe the next one is coming in La Quinta County or La Quinta, California. I'm not 100% sure if they're going to cancel that yet. I doubt they will. But obviously, with all the wildfires and everything happening in LA, I don't know how close La Quinta is to LA, but obviously there's a chance that they might go ahead and cancel that or at least move it or something. So unfortunate out there in LA. Hopefully all gets under control here soon. But that is where the next tournament will be. But again, we'll talk about that later. To the TGL for this past week, inaugural match went pretty well. Thought it was very entertaining. Watched a little bit of it live. Watched most of it back afterwards, just because had some things going on. But New York versus Bay. Bay won the inaugural match, and again, it was fun to watch. It was different. Wasn't 100% sure on how it was going to play out, but it really kind of worked out. I'm still a little bit iffy on kind of the putting green, since yes, it can, shift and move and do all that stuff, but it's still the same shape. So that is the one thing that I do question a little bit. And then the AI generated holes are very interesting. If you haven't watched it, go back and watch it or watch tonight, because there will be another match tonight. But yeah, they're all AI generated holes, so it's very different to see. I think might have been the 4th hole they were hitting over lava, 4th or 5th, something like that. So it was really interesting to see. But Bay won the first hole before pushing hole number 2. And then on hole number 3, we got to see Bay use the first hammer for the TGL. So the hammer again increases the value of the hole, and you can only use it, you can use it only when you're in possession of it. So once Bay used it, it went to possession of New York. And again, the other team can choose to accept it or reject it. If they reject it, then they automatically give up the hole. But New York accepted it. Wyndham Clark hit his 7-foot putt to give Bay a 3-0 lead after 3 holes. And from there, Bay went on to win the next 3 holes, thanks in part to some ridiculous shots from Ludwig. I think it was the third shot on the next hole on the par 5 fourth. He hit it to within like 4 feet of the pin. And then his teammate went ahead and knocked it in for the birdie. And then on the par 3 fifth, he drained a 32-foot putt for birdie. So yeah, that was a ridiculous putt. If you have time, go back, look it up. Absolutely insane. But he had a couple of outstanding shots. New York finally got on the board, winning the 9th hole of the night, ending the alternate shot portion of the match. And then the score was 6-1 in favor of Bay at that point. Bay took the first 3 holes of singles, leaving New York down 9-1 with 3 to play. New York got one back on the next hole, but they didn't get another one. Match ended 9-2 for Bay. Again, it was really cool to see and very different. I like the way that they did it. The shot clock came into play a little bit, but it was cool. It was fast-paced, playing really quickly. I do like the chipping area and whatnot. It is a little bit different because once they turn around to 50 yards and in, unless they're in a bunker, they're basically playing off a turf. So it gives them an easier chip and everything. But then again, these are professionals, so they're not really going to be duffing chips the way that amateurs will. So I'm sure the turf doesn't really make a difference. But it was very interesting. Again, they do play again tonight. Tonight it is the LA Club versus the Jupiter Club. Obviously, a lot of things going on in LA, so hopefully that LA Club can kind of represent them really well. Thoughts and prayers out to the family members and firefighters and just everybody that's affected out there in LA. But yeah, it's a crazy thing to see. But outside of that, let's go ahead. We'll jump into the golf news here. All right, golf news past week. Just saw something today, actually, when I was looking around and kind of reading up. Jordan Spieth planning on making his return to golf after his wrist injury ended his season last year. So anyone that doesn't know, he had season-ending surgery, I believe, in like September or August. But he first injured it back in May of 2023. So he was kind of playing through it up until August of last year when he decided to have the surgery. Basically, they said something popped in his wrist, and he basically had to get it restructured again and basically get it back to where it was so that it can be healthy. With that surgery, though, he did have to take 12 weeks off from hitting balls. So he wasn't even able to hit the range for 12 weeks. And then it took another month before he was able to play a round. I want to say, you do that math, it was probably somewhere in December he was probably playing his first round, if not January almost. So it's been a while, but I think with that, he was able to break some bad habits, he said, because he said in an interview that he had a lot of bad habits developing, whether it was from the wrist injury or just something else, if they would have naturally just happened. But with all the time off, he was able to basically rework his swing, and it'll hopefully get him back to competing at that high level like he was before. I mean, he was, can't remember the year, but there was a year that he was going for full year Grand Slam. Like, the guy was on fire. He was an amazing player. So hopefully he can get back. Hopefully he can get back to being at the top of his game. I mean, obviously you just want him to be able to go out and play and kind of enjoy himself and not have the pain in his wrist, which from what he said, now that he's been hitting balls, now that he's played around the golf, he said he's not feeling any pain in his wrist now, which is really good. I think I speculated last year that I had a feeling he was probably hurt just because he was playing so poorly, and he had been for so long. I had a feeling he was probably hurt. I didn't even know that he had hurt his wrist back in May until I was reading up on it. So it is good. He will be coming back at the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. That'll be his first tournament back. So that's going to be the first time we get to kind of see how he plays and kind of back in that element. And then from there, hopefully he starts to play some more tournaments and whatnot. Again, I don't know if it's going to take some time for him, instead of playing back-to-back weeks, if he's going to play every other week until he can get that wrist back to something and make sure that he's not having any sort of pain or any sort of tenderness or anything. But very exciting for Jordan Spieth to be back. And again, hopefully he can come back at the level that he was and just kind of start competing towards the top again, because he was one of the best players for a pretty long time there. So outside of that, Live Golf adds U.S. amateur Luis Masave, signs with Sergio Garcia's Fireballs. Cool signing for him. He played really well last year. It's interesting to see after all of the news from Eugenio Chacarra, with him getting dropped and kind of him now coming out and saying that it probably wasn't the best decision as a young player who had a lot going for him to basically take the money instead of going to the PGA. And the funny thing, like, there's similarities between Eugenio and Ludwig. Both of them became pro in the same year. And obviously you see Ludwig, who's number 6 in the world rankings, and Eugenio is like 140 something. So he's not even top 100. And again, it's because Liv doesn't get the world or official world ranking points and stuff like that. So like he can't really get ranked. But on to the next thing, obviously. Eugenio does get cut from the Fireball squad, which is how they opened up a spot for Luis Masave. Eugenio is now going to be looking to kind of earn his Pro Tour card. Again, he came out, he was really was not happy about kind of how everything went down with Live Golf, and now he's looking back and he sees it as pretty much a big mistake. Obviously, he made a ton of money off of it, and he has a lot of money, but he doesn't even have a PGA Tour card, so he needs to work towards that. But he can't even start this journey until September 23rd when his suspension ends. So once that happens, he'll be able to start the first stage of the PGA Tour Q School. As of right now, he'll be competing in Asia, and hopefully he can seek some sponsorship exemptions to be on the DP World Tour. I don't know what'll happen. I met Eugenio. I think he's a really good guy. Back at Live Golf DC, and kind of I met a lot of the guys that worked for him and talked to them a lot. And he's a good young player. Like, I think he's 24 right now. I don't even know if he's 24 yet. Like, the guy's a good young player. Kind of just didn't really work out on the Live Tour. Apparently, they lied to him about the World Golf Rankings points and being able to kind of earn your way into majors and things like that, where they never got that approved and it never happened. So all of the, basically, to create your own little legacy, like, you couldn't do it because you're not playing in the majors, you're not playing in these big events. And he said he looks at someone like Ludwig, who came pro the same as him, win a couple events on the PGA and their life changes, and he wins. I think he was the youngest person to ever win a Live event. I think it was his 5th start. He won it, and nothing really changed. No one even talked about him. No one cared. So sad, but hopefully, with him being so young and him being such a good player, he can earn that tour card. And hopefully you'll see him on the PGA Tour next season. I don't think he can get the tour card before the end of the season. So it'll be a little bit of time. It'll be about a year until you probably see him, but I'll keep up on that, see how he's doing once that suspension is lifted in September. But again, kind of just the whole thing with Liv right now, very questionable. And again, someone like Ludwig Massaval, him being such a good U.S. amateur player and deciding to go over there for the money is just, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, if it works out for him, it works out for him. But if not, he's going to end up in a position similar to Eugenio, which hopefully he's making some money so that if he does get cut or something like this, he actually has something to kind of fall back on up until he can get the PGA Tour card. But Last thing, as I've talked about, you got the TGL this week. LA versus Jupiter. LA will be starting Colin Morikawa, Justin Rose, Sahith Theegala. Jupiter Club will be starting Max Homa, Kevin Kisner, and Tiger Woods. This will be Tiger's first match in the league that he started, so I'm sure there's going to be a ton of buzz and a ton of people interested to see him going out and playing in the league that he originally started. It's funny, him being on that team, I think they're the lowest ranked team. Like, I think they have the farthest favorites to, or the highest favorites, or no, they're the lowest odds to win the league. So, I mean, I don't think it's a bad team. I like Max Homa. I don't know how Tiger will play. Sure, the fact that he doesn't have to walk or play a full 15 holes, he'll be fine. He can swing out of his shoes a few times here and there. But it'll be interesting to see. That is going to be tonight at 7 p.m. So keep an eye out on that. Obviously, I'll be watching that one and kind of give you guys updates on it next week. But let's move forward. Upcoming events this week, you got the PGA, the American Express. So that'll be at the Pete Dye Stadium course, La Quinta Country Club, Nicholas Tournament course, La Quinta, California. You also have the DP World Tour, Hero, Dubai, Desert Classic, Emirates Golf Club, Dubai, the United Emirates. That's going to be tough to watch for everyone unless you want to get up at 2 a.m. I think it's from like 2 to 8:30. It's going to be on the Golf Network. So good luck watching that one. But there's a ton of good players playing in it. And then obviously, like I said, TGL, LA, Jupiter tonight, 7 p.m. Last week, my bets, I had one hit, one didn't. Corey Connors, top 5, horrible. I don't know what happened with him. He was horrendous. Didn't even make the cut. So, yeah, that one didn't hit. And then I picked Bay to win. They won. Got the hit on that one. For this week, taking Wyndham Clark, top 5. I think he played well in the TGL, and I think he'll be fine playing in the American Express. For the DP World Tour, Hero, Dubai, I'm taking Tyrrell Hatton, top 5. Wyndham Clark is plus 600 odds to be top 5 in the American Express. Tyrrell Hatton, top 5, plus 200. And then LA versus Jupiter, I'm taking Jupiter at plus 120. I don't think Tiger's going to lose the first match that he's ever playing in his own league. Be kind of crazy. So don't think he's going to lose. I'm taking them. Hopefully, if they all hit, be a decent little payout there. But we'll have to wait and see. But again, another exciting week of golf. Obviously, things happening. Excited for Jordan Spieth to be back. And then, obviously, heavy hearts. Thoughts go out to LA, firefighters, all these people. It's crazy to see on one end of the country, you got them burning, the other end's under snow, and a lot of crazy things going on. But hopefully a little bit of golf soothes the soul a little bit. But we'll have to wait and see for this weekend. Excited for the TGL tonight. If you haven't already, hit the like button, follow, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week.